All right, good morning. I have 10:30 a.m., so we'll get started. My name is Jason Runyon. I'm a lead forecaster with the National Weather Service office out of Austin, San Antonio. This is our 10:30 a.m. Sunday, April 7th weather briefing for the total eclipse. Just a reminder that this briefing is being recorded, and a copy of the slides along with the recording will be emailed out shortly afterwards to those that are on our partner list. If you're not on our partner email list, the briefing will also be posted under the news headlines at weather.gov/San Antonio. Some important updates since our last briefing. We're now into the high resolution model time window for the eclipse, so we've made additional refinements to Monday's forecast. And specifically, our rain chances have decreased slightly in the path of totality for Monday, and our confidence has increased a little bit more in the cloud coverage forecast for Monday. Just a reminder for the remaining schedule of the eclipse briefings, we'll have one afternoon briefing today at 2:30 p.m. and then our final briefing will be at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. So the main weather points that we'll discuss here in this briefing, we've seen a weak cold front that's moved through the I-35 corridor earlier this morning that will stall across the coastal plains today. That's going to bring drier conditions behind the front across most of south central Texas today. We do have a medium to high confidence level now for our forecast of cloud cover and rain chances tomorrow on eclipse day, with it being mostly cloudy to even cloudy across south central Texas, along with some isolated morning showers and then some scattered afternoon showers and isolated storms after the eclipse. We do have a very low confidence level in severe storms after the eclipse, and we'll get into more detail here on that in a minute. And then finally, we'll discuss the potential egress issues Tuesday into Tuesday night with the potential for storms, some of which could become strong to severe. So as I mentioned, the weak cold front moved through the I-35 corridor earlier this morning. That front is now down into the coastal plains and will stall somewhere in that region this afternoon. Drier air is working into south central Texas, and that should result in lower humidity today and scatter out any remaining low cloud cover that's across the region. High temperatures today should be in the 80s for most areas. I included the satellite image from about 45 minutes ago showing where the location of most of the low clouds were, now kind of south of the front. There's some post-frontal low clouds still right around the I-35 corridor. Those should scatter out pretty shortly. But the main thing I wanted to point out is there's a large plume of high-level cirrus that streams back into Mexico and back into the Pacific Ocean. And that location of that stream of moisture isn't going to change much over the next day. So those high clouds will continue to stream over the region today and into the eclipse day. So as far as the weather goes for Monday, that front that has stalled today over the coastal plains is expected to lift back north into south central Texas late tonight and through the morning hours on Monday. That's going to bring a return of low-level moisture to the region in the form of cloud cover, perhaps some patchy drizzle and isolated weak showers in the morning as well. By the eclipse peak in the early afternoon, we could see some scattering out of low clouds possible, mainly across the northern hill country and the Rio Grande, with some patchy breaks in the low clouds elsewhere. But as I mentioned in the previous slide with the satellite imagery, the high-level clouds will continue to stream through the entire region through the day on Monday. As far as our rain chances, I mentioned that we've actually decreased the rain chances slightly Monday in the path of totality, now forecasting about a 10 to 20% chance of rain through most of the hill country, central and western hill country, and back towards the Rio Grande region, and about a 40 to 60% chance of rain east of there, with the highest rain chances outside of the path of totality. Now, in the morning hours, the coverage won't be that great. As I mentioned, it should just be kind of isolated weak showers, some patchy drizzle possible. So we get into the afternoon hours, I'll show you some model simulations here in a second of what could happen. But we could see an increase in activity mainly across eastern areas. Overall, the rain amounts appear to be low at this time. Most locations, if they get any rain, will be just a few hundredths of an inch to possibly a couple tenths of an inch. Now, where any isolated storms develop, there could be an isolated pocket of 1/2 to 1 inch of rain possible. So here's one model. I just wanted to kind of just show the trends. Don't concentrate specifically on where you see any rain on these images. Locations could vary from model to model, but just the trends that we're kind of seeing are very consistent in all of our high resolution models. So starting out on the top left there, 10 a.m. tomorrow morning, we're expecting to get some isolated weak showers, perhaps some patchy morning drizzle. As you progress to the middle image around the peak totality, you might see an increase in rain intensity of isolated showers across the coastal plains. And then as we get into the late afternoon, after the eclipse window, we start to see more scattered type shower activity, isolated thunderstorm activity late in the afternoon, mainly across the eastern hill country, as well as near and east of the Austin metro area. We're much less confident that we'll see rainfall farther west into the hill country in Rio Grande during the afternoon on Monday. Now, as far as our severe chances Monday and our excessive rainfall outlooks, on the left there is the Storm Prediction Center's severe weather outlook for Monday. On the right is the Weather Prediction Center's excessive rainfall outlook for Monday. We're still in a level 1 to 2 out of 5 risk for severe storms Monday. Again, that would be primarily after 3 p.m., after the eclipse window. And level 1 out of 4 risk for excessive rainfall across our far northeastern counties of our forecast area. Now, I should stress this is a very low confidence severe weather outlook this far south into south central Texas, and the outlook might be slightly aggressive from the Storm Prediction Center. We do expect severe storms farther north into central Texas and north central Texas during the afternoon on Monday and Monday evening. But this far south, this outlook might be slightly aggressive, so there might be some updates coming to this in future outlooks from the Storm Prediction Center. If we do see any isolated severe storms in the late afternoon, the primary threat will be very large hail, as well as a lightning risk. And there's a secondary, very low threat for an isolated tornado, mainly north of Austin to LaGrange. Our temperature forecasts for Monday, our low temperature on the left there, these haven't changed too much, just generally in the mid 50s to mid 60s, and highs in the 80s for most locations. Again, we pointed this out the past couple briefings we've given, that if we end up a little bit more pessimistic on the completely overcast side of things, as far as cloud cover goes, then these temperatures might be off a few degrees, might be a little bit warmer on the low temperature forecast and slightly cooler on the high temperature forecast. All right, now that we're in our high resolution model time frame into the eclipse window, we can start to look a little bit more specific at the degree of cloud cover and different layers of the atmosphere. So on this image here, I have the low cloud cover forecast, the coverage of low clouds at 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. Tomorrow. As you can see, there's a high confidence that the low morning stratus clouds will be in place across most of the region. It should be broken to overcast low stratus across almost the entirety of the region tomorrow morning. But by eclipse peak time in the early afternoon, there's some indications that there could be a scattering out of the low clouds along the Rio Grande and possibly the northern hill country, say northern Gillespie, northern Kerr, back into Edwards County. And elsewhere, the breaks in the low cloud cover would be patchy. Now, unfortunately, as I've mentioned a couple of times now, the high clouds are going to be across the entire region. So now we're looking at the high level percent of cloud cover at 10 a.m. there on the left and at 1 p.m. on the right. And if anything, the high clouds might be thickening through the day. So there's a high confidence that there will be high clouds streaming in across the entire region all day Monday. There might be some locations that have some more translucent high level cloud cover. So if they do see some breaks in low clouds, they might see a very filtered view of the eclipse. But most locations are going to see mostly cloudy conditions and difficult viewing conditions for the eclipse. And here's our most likely cloud cover forecast, kind of taking into everything, still showing kind of mostly cloudy to even cloudy conditions out east for the eclipse window in the early afternoon. We've given these examples the past few days of what it could look like. We do see any breaks in the low level clouds, and the cirrus is translucent enough. Something on the left might be typical of what you would see. On the middle image and on the right would be something of higher opaque thick clouds and low clouds that just don't break, resulting in poor eclipse viewability. All right, I'll briefly get into the Tuesday forecast. We've been stressing this, that the pattern becomes more active across much of Texas during the day on Tuesday. So that could be some concerns for any remaining egress going on. The next upper level storm system and cold front will be approaching. There's still really low confidence in the timing of all this into south central Texas, but there will be a potential for some severe storms somewhere across the region during the day on Tuesday or into Tuesday night. And here are the severe weather outlooks and the excessive rainfall outlooks for Tuesday from the Storm Prediction Center and the Weather Prediction Center. Still in a level 1 out of 2 risk for 1 to 2 out of 5 level risk for severe storms, and a level 1 out of 4 risk for heavy rainfall. We'll be increasing the confidence of the timing of all this as we get into the day tomorrow, as our high resolution models kind of extend out into the day on Tuesday. So by tomorrow, we should have a little bit better handle on what the situation will be like on Tuesday. Finally, I'll just leave you with the resource slides. We've covered these in depth for several briefings. We do have hourly forecast out to 7 days here on this link. You can scan the QR code here. This will be in our briefing slides that we email out. We've created some pre-selected QR codes for different regions of South Central Texas. Here are all of our western cities, our hill country cities, and our I-35 corridor cities. And again, if you didn't get a chance to scan these QR codes, these slides will be in the slide deck that we email out, as well as upload to our webpage. And finally, our satellite and radar resources are links to those. So just to summarize, again, we're pretty confident now, medium to high level confidence that we'll see mostly cloudy conditions across South Central Texas on Monday, with rain chances about 10 to 20% west, 30 to 60% east. Coverage should be kind of isolated in the morning of weak showers, becoming more scattered in the afternoon, and then possibly some isolated coverage of storms after the eclipse window, with a low potential for some severe weather, again, after the eclipse window. And Tuesday and Tuesday night, we're still watching for the forecast to be refined in respect to timing and severe weather hazards, but there could be some potential issues there for any egress that's still going. Confidence levels, just want to leave you with that. Again, cloud cover and precip chances during the eclipse day tomorrow, medium to high. Severe storm chances across South Central Texas tomorrow, late tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow night, very low at this point. Confidence levels a little bit higher as you get north of here. And then the severe storm chance confidence levels Tuesday and Tuesday night are currently low to medium. Finally, our next briefing will be this afternoon at 2:30 p.m. and our final briefing at 9 a.m. on Monday morning. So with that, I'll pause for any questions. If you do have any questions, you can use the questions feature and go ahead and type those in. I see a few that have already come in, so I'll go ahead and read those off and answer them. All right, first question, could you tell us what the rain forecast looks like in the Kerrville area Monday morning and Monday afternoon? Let me back up to that kind of radar slide that I showed. That kind of hits it pretty well. So at 10 a.m. In the morning hours up there in the hill country over Kerr County, it should be pretty spotty, very isolated weak showers, maybe some patchy drizzle, not much coverage at all, just some very light activity. As you get into the early afternoon, same type of deal up in the Kerr County region, very isolated hit and miss type coverage of weak showers. And in the afternoon hours, the coverage actually might shift a little bit east of Kerr County towards the eastern hill country and northern I-35 corridor up towards Austin. So overall, for Kerrville, pretty isolated coverage of showers through the morning into the early afternoon. Next question, question about Spring Branch area tomorrow between 7 a.m. and 3 p.m. Storm chances around 2 to 4 p.m. Same type of deal as I mentioned with Kerr County. Is not too much difference up into the Spring Branch area. Honestly, rain chances overall up into the Spring Branch area are about somewhere 30 to 50%. The thunder chances would be much lower, probably only about 10 to 20% during the afternoon. And that would be, again, after the eclipse window, so say after 3 p.m. Any additional questions? I'll give it about another 30 seconds here. Okay, seeing no questions, thanks for your attendance this morning. I'll talk to you this afternoon for those that will be on the 2:30 briefing, and if not, we'll have our final briefing tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Go ahead and end the call here. Thanks again.